Good evening. So Kruleboyz got points updates. I am going to have a look at them and see what they sort of mean and plug them into my spreadsheets. If you're interested in getting access to the spreadsheets, send me a DM on Discord. It's something that I give freely to all my patrons, but maybe you can send me a message and convince me. But first, of course, thanks to BAM! All my patrons. These patrons are sick. Yep, that's how that is. Alright. Okay, so, I mean, like, holy jeez, everything went down. Like, everything went down. It's kind of insane. The only thing that didn't go down is Kragnos, and that's fine. Like, Kragnos doesn't have to go down, because, I mean, he's not really a cruel boy so much as he is just, like, a destruction god, right? So, but yeah, so, if we want to look, let's start at the top here with Gobsprakk. So Gobsprakk went from 330 to 310 points. I think Gobsprakk is more playable now at 310 points. I think that the reason that you would want to play Gobsprakk primarily now is if you were really going to try to have a 2-drop list. I think that you can definitely run a list that's like Kragnos and Gobsprakk. I think that's very thematic. I know that in the lore, Gobsprakk is meaningful. I haven't checked it out too much myself, but that's a neat little list, right? Also, if you run, like I said, you can do a 2-drop list, because then you could, I think with Gobsprakk, you can take, you know, a Swamp Beast, and with Kragnos, you can take a Swamp Beast and Mob Wranglers, right? And they both can take any Kruleboyz, so you can sort of take 4 heroes and still only be 2-drops. Yeah, that's pretty neat, right? Is Scumdrek. Scumdrek is not a Swamp Beast, so you can't take Scumdrek in that list, but that's okay. Yeah, but I mean, the damage per point doesn't really change all that much, right? Like, Gobsprakk is not here to be like a big damage dealer. We're gonna slide this over a little bit, I think. Gotta make enough room so I can see all the stuff here. And the health per point for Gobsprakk changing, now being 310, is not a huge, gonna be a big difference, right? Didn't change anything. That doesn't sound right. What if he's 1,000 points? Yeah, it does. It does change. Okay. But yeah, it's not very significant. Like, Gobsprakk is still less than 0.1 health per point. And again, for those of you that are sort of new or checking this out for the first time, the way that my formulas work for this spreadsheet, like the health per point, is the health that a unit has, so how many wounds a unit has, its save, so like a save is going to reduce, it's going to multiply its health. So if you have a 2-up save, then the functional health that you have, the number of saves that your opponent has to make you roll goes higher. Same thing for a ward, and then that's of course divided by, it gives me, like, I generate a number and then I divide that by how many points, right? So at the high end here, we have Gut Rip as at 0.2 health per point, which is pretty high, and then everything else is below that. Okay, up next, let's see what's next on our list here. The Vulture-boss. So the Vulture-boss goes down by 20 points, is that right? Kill-boss and Corpse Rip 30 points. The Corpse Rip Vulture goes down by 30 points. So we go from just under a 3 damage per 100 points to about 3.3 damage per 100 points. That's pretty cool. The Vulture-boss can also take that new monstrous trait that we have, right, which gives us a +1 to hit, just like built in all the time, and that's pretty good, right? That's so the Vulture-boss is looking pretty good, but I mean, the Breaka-boss being cheaper, not faster, but being cheaper, is yeah, like, hard to compete with, right? The thing that the Vulture-boss really gives us, pardon me, over the Vulture-boss really gives us speed, but the damage isn't very high. So if if we were to give him, like I was saying, the like the Mavine, the add 1 to hit rolls for attacks, the damage goes up, but it's not a ton of damage, right? So that's not really why he's there. Sludge Raker Beast, I don't think changed. No, the Sludge Raker went down. The Snatcher Boss and Sludge Raker Beast went down 20 points. Everything's so cheap. So the Sludge Raker's just under 4 damage per 100 point, but there's so many better options. For 3 more points, sorry, for 30 more points, you can take Scumdrek, the Soggy Scumdrek, which is just so much better. Swamp Boss Scumdrek did not change points. So they're both at 220 now. And they deal comparable amounts of damage, but it looks like you still probably take the Sludge Raker Beast if you were kind of debating between Scumdrek and Sludge Raker. I don't think there's really room for like a 2 Sludge Raker list. It's too it's not enough value if you're running like a Sludge Raker and a Scumdrek. I don't think it's really enough value. The Sludge Raker, just neither one of these things is giving us enough utility, which is why we were so happy to see the new Soggy Scumdrek, who's going to stay at 250 points, which is fine. Breaka-boss going down to 200 points is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. This says Prize Beast, but really now what it should say is Mavine, because it's functionally the same thing in terms of the damage, right? Yeah, it's a lot. Mavine, 7.28 damage per 100 points now. Like, I don't know, is a list with like 3 Breaka-bosses and Kragnos worth playing, where you just throw these at your opponent and just like one at a time and be like, you're gonna strike last and I'm gonna strike before you, and these things are just gonna punch like 15 damage against a 4-up save. I mean, not all of them can have Mavine, right? But you can still use all-out attack, especially if you're just throwing these things away. 200 points is a little bit expensive, right? But they slap. The point reductions are crazy. Nash-tooth went down to 100 and, what is it, 50? Kiloboss on Great Nash-tooth, 150. So the old one is better value than the new one, just in terms of how much damage it deals. They both, the new one and the old one, have the same attack profiles. They have the same like save and all this. The difference is that, of course, the new one has that cool ability that it can kind of escape combat and drag units with it. That's pretty cool. But more importantly, it has the ability where it can just like teleport from board edges to board edges wholly within 6. So the Soggy Nash-tooth is significantly better. So if Soggy Nash-tooth is 160 points, I'd say the Nash-tooth is worth closer to 120 points. Yeah. Kragnos is staying the same at 280. Gut Rippas are staying the same at 150. Monster Kills going down to 110 is kind of nuts. Like, Monster Killers just on their own, without any buffs, without just into other infantry units, let's say, are dealing 6 damage per 100 points. They're not as healthy as some of the other units. Like, if we go and compare them, let's say, oh, that's why I moved the screen over here. Let's say that I'm taking Monster Killers at 110 points now. The damage per 100 points, well, it's actually kind of approaching now. The health per point is coming up at, this should really be maybe be per 100 point, but it doesn't matter. It's approaching like the 0.2, which is where our Gut Rippas are. And they have a 5-up save, right? Like, we're not survivable. If I just pull up like the same thing I have for Iron Jaws here, our boys are 0.4 with their Weird Fist. 0.33 without it. So to be 0.2 is significantly more fragile than our Monster Killers and Gut Rippas. But their damage is really high. You know, like having a like MSU Monster Killers list, like running like 4 units of Monster Killers is fantastic. For all you hobby people out there that aren't like super into competitive lists, and people ask me for like substitutions for Monster Killers, And frankly, there just kind of isn't a substitution for monster killers. They're 40 points cheaper than Gobsprakk. If you have 2 units of monster killers and 2 reinforced units of Gobsprakk, it's a huge amount of points that you're saving. 80 points. It's a lot of points. Marsh went down. Marsh went down. How much? Where is he? He's down here. The Marsh went down 20 points to 130. So cheap. So cheap. 130 points. Yeah. He, I think that if you're going to play the new battle formation, the Swamp Horde Bullies, and you're going to use this ganging up ability, I think that the Marsh might be an auto-include, just to make sure that your units can get into combat where they need to. It's going to really suck if you have a unit that needs another, like a friend to be in combat, and you don't have a friend to be in combat with. But good thing we're running like multiple units of monster killers. Hobgrats also went down in points by 10 points. Still not cheap enough. Not when 30 points more gives you a unit of monster killers that deals so much better. Right? Like, let's see. Hobgrats being 90 points. Like, this is why. If we look at their damage, right? Like, they actually deal pretty good damage per 100 points. Right? Against good saves, though, it really falls off. Here's another thing, too, right? Like, a unit of 10 Hobgrats against a 3-up save is dealing about 2.75. Monster killers are going to deal literally double that. Right? So against anything that's got a good save, they kind of suck. The damage per 100 points is still, like, worse, but it's still good. Right? Doing 4.86 damage per 100 point is still good. But the real difference is going to be when we look at it in the health, like how its survivability. It's going to be quite a bit lower than monster killers with that 6-up save. It does have, yeah, it's only got 10 health, you know, compared to a 14 health of monster killers. Yeah. A worse save. They just kind of die to stuff. The whole unit will just melt to shooting. Yeah, not great. With no abilities really to speak of, they got to be cheaper. Even still, I still don't think that they're cheap enough. Not when there's other cheap options. Speaking of cheap options, boyz, 90 points. Why would you ever take Hobgrats when you could take boyz? Which means this goes down to 180. This is a reinforced unit. So the damage per 100 points still, you know, isn't great. Like it is like a skirmishy shooting unit. And I'm going to make a follow-up video. I made a video about boyz just recently, and I need to make a follow-up video because the response that I got from the community was not what I was expecting. People were really arguing for boyz. So I'm going to have another think, I'm going to have another look, and I'm going to make a follow-up video, because that's one of the reasons I make these videos, is to see what other people think. And if I say something in a video and everybody agrees with me, I say, okay, it's probably correct. But if there's lots of people in the comments and in Discord that disagree with me, I think to myself, I need to have another think about this. So, but yeah, like 90-point boyz. You can have a lot of boyz for pretty cheap. Like, what's 180? Sorry. 180 times 3. So 3 reinforced unit, 540 points. It's very cheap. So, more thinking on that, I think. Killbow goes down 20 points. Killbow's amazing. Love the Killbow. So, dropping another 20 points. Like, it's so many point reductions. It's kind of absurd how cheap all these things are now. Like, it's just silly. boyz 90 points, get out of here. Killbow 140, Marsh 130. Yep. Breaka-boss 200. Vulture-boss 260. Nash-tooth's gonna stay at 160. Snatcher Boss 220. Scoundrel 250. The Kill Boss went down. I don't have any math for him for damage, because who cares? Does that matter? Kill Boss with Stab Grot? No. So the Kill Boss being 80 points, and the Hobgrat Slitaboss being 70 points. The Slitaboss has the niche of being the cheapest hero. So that matters. Because if you want a hero just to stand inside of the tower, then he's the cheapest. So it still means the Killaboss is completely unplayable. Because he doesn't do anything. It doesn't matter how cheap he gets. As long as he's not the cheapest, he's irrelevant. If he was the cheapest, then he could sit in the tower. But he's not. He's not. What are some other changes that we didn't talk about? Yeah, the Slitaboss going down, it's like I said, if you have exactly 70 points left, that's fine. You can take him and you put him in the tower. What else? The Merc Knob with Belchabana going down 20 points is really nice. If you have 80 points, then you always take the Merc Knob if you're looking for one more hero. You know, the Merc Knob is better than the Kill Boss because he does something. If you put him in the boss, or if you put him in the Scaregob Totem, then he can just sit there and give a 6-up ward, which is nice. It's not nothing, right? Because the Kill Boss is nothing. And the Swamp Calla Shaman going down 10 points is nice because he's a staple. You're going to be taking him in pretty much all of your lists. And that's it. That's all of them. Overall, like, kind of ridiculous points reductions. Gout Rippers didn't go down. That's probably fine. If they got too cheap, we would just run so many units of them. And I'm fine with them being 150. What else didn't go down? The old Scoundrel, that's fine. And then, like, who cares? And then, like, he could go up 50 points. It's real. Like, we're not taking him, but, like, he'd have to be so cheap. He's a race to the bottom unit, the old Scumtrek. Same with the old Kill Boss. Same with the old Nash-tooth. Right? It just doesn't matter. So, yeah. Still, I mean, everything's so cheap now. Things are coming up Kruleboyz. And another thing that was really nice is that none of our enhancements cost any points whatsoever. All 0 down the board. So I don't know about you, but in my list that I was looking at, it went down 110 points. It went down a whole Mons to kill his unit, which is a lot. Being able to fit an additional unit of Monster Killers into a list, that's significant. I have this feeling that I might see a Monster Killers spam list where it's like, hey, there's 6 units of Monster Killers, Kragnos and Marsh, and we just run and charge and trade. And behind it, there's 2 Killbows and then maybe 2 Breaka-bosses. Like, why would that list not be good? Like, seriously, Marsh, Kragnos, 2 Killbows, and then as many Monster Killers as you can fit that are left. No casting, just Mortal Wound trade. Run and charge Mortal Wounds. Why would that list not work? Like, I think it would work. It's kind of scary. Yeah, I mean, our health per point is still kind of low. I should probably just, like, multiply this by 100 and just call it per 100 points. Autofill? Yeah, sure. So 20 health per 100 points. God, these things are so smart now. Right? 20 health per 100 points. It's like survivability, kind of. Yeah, and Monster Killers, like, Monster Killers are survivable. Relative in Kruleboyz. They deal lots of damage relative to how many points they are. As soon as they're against monsters, it goes up by a little bit too, that extra rend. I mean, really, what they do is they turn off the rampages and make them strike last, right? But yeah, they might be the best anti-monster unit in the game. Yep. Throwing lots of dice, right? 6.61. If we look at Gutrippaz, where are my Gutrippaz? Where are they? They have one more rend than Gutrippaz. Yeah, it's so good. Like crit mortals. Things are really looking up for Kruleboyz. I'm excited to get them on the table. 2 more weeks and then I'm gonna play so many games. Yeah. Join the Discord. Come join the conversation. We're having a good time. Like, subscribe. Wow.